Okay, no, she's just talking about her dreams and visions stuff again. I was out riding on my horse, and all of a sudden, I came across the stagecoach, and it was just laying there all alone with nobody around. So I got off my horse and I went to check it out and see why it was all abandoned, and I didn't find anybody around it. And I noticed there was something weird about this stagecoach. And I looked at it, and I checked it all out. And I looked underneath the stagecoach, and there was something fishy about the bottom. So I lay down and crawled underneath it, and then I found something. I found a compartment underneath the stagecoach, and what I found was rifles. Somebody was snuggling rifles in the stagecoach, and I put it back where I found it and closed it up, made it look like nobody touched it or anything. And I went scouting around to see if I could find anything or anybody, and I didn't. So I took the horses and the stagecoach, and I took it with me. I took it to a special place where I was going to hide the rifles and stuff. And when I got to this place where I was going to hide them at, there's this cave. It's kind of round, but not kind of round. And right next to it was an Indian burial ground. And I took these rifles inside this cave. And I walked in there, and I went to check out this cave and see what the best spot would be to hide them. And I got all these rifles in this cave, and I looked up at the ceiling, and I just smiled. And I said this would be definitely a good place, because I saw a bunch of bats and stuff up on the ceiling. And these bats just let me come in and hide all these rifles and stuff there. And when I got done putting the rifles there, I took all the bullets and stuff, and I hid all the bullets and stuff on the edge of the Indian burial ground and stuff. And I looked up, and I said a little prayer, and I offered them all kabaka. And I noticed this little boy. He must have died not too long ago. And I reached up and made sure he was covered up and everything. And I placed a doll I had next to the little boy. And I prayed for that little boy. And then I went and started taking the stagecoach apart where nobody will find it and stuff. And then I took the horses to my grandfather. I took these horses and put them in my grandfather's corral, and I took the other horses to my father and put him in his corral. And I figured that my grandfather and my father would figure out where they came from and stuff. And then I left, And then I went to take care of the rest of the stagecoach and cover up my tracks and my trail. And then I made a map of where I hidden up these rifles and stuff at. And I took that map and I took it back to my father, because my father, a war chief. So I took it to him and I told him I made a map, and I told him what it was and everything, and I told him to guard that map with his life, and if he really needed those rifles and stuff, he would know where to find them. And then that little boy spirit kept following me. He kept following me after I give him a gift. And this little boy spirit, his spotter, this little boy spirit went to his spotter and told his spotter about me. And this warrior came in looking for me because of his son. The spirit of his son wanted us to be together. And then I went back to my people, and I went into my teepee and stuff. My grandfather always knew when I was coming home, and he always had food and stuff in my teepee for me. And I would be in my teepee for a while, and I would be doing stuff in my teepee, and I was talking to the spirits and stuff in my teepee. Everybody knew that when I'm in my teepee for a while, I'm talking to the spirits. And then when I come out, my father and my grandfather will ask me what the spirits wanted and what they wanted me to do next. And I always told them what they wanted and where I should go next and what I should do. And then I was on this horse, and I was dressed with my moccasin boots on, and I always had this green duster and this hat, and I was with these other warriors and stuff, and the next thing I know, I was doing a war cry running down this hill. And there was these white soldiers that we were attacking. And then I would yell something, and I would tell them to go around the back, to get them in the back, the attack from the backside. And then after a while, I would tell them to start surrounding them on all four sides. And then I would And then we would leave, and we would pick up our dead and the wounded and bring them back home. Whenever our village got attacked, I was about to get attacked, me and this warrior, we came out of the teepee when we was getting attacked with white soldiers and stuff, and he would fight, and I would stand there and fight with him, and our backs to one another. When he got things under control and stuff, and I would go and gathered up all the children and the women and all the elderly, and I would take them out of the village to safety. I always told them where to go. I already seen the vision in my mind where the safe place was to go when the soldiers came to attack our village. And I always knew where to take the children and the woman and the elderly to the safe place. And sometimes I would know in advance, and I would take food and water and clothing to the place where I knew that I would take part of my people there while the warriors stayed there and fought, but we wouldn't lose our women and children and the elderly. I told them all to stay behind me. Stay behind me and you be safe. I always told them that, and they always listened to me. And I tried to get as many as people I could out of the village and stuff. And I had to come back because somehow this little baby got left behind. And I didn't think her mother quite made it. So I had to run back to get the little girl because I knew the spirits and stuff were protecting me, and that none of these bullets and stuff would ever hurt me. So I run back to get this little girl and stuff, and we just barely made it before all the white soldiers started slaughtering everybody, and our warriors stood there to fight. And I always prayed and hoped that the warriors would be okay. And then once I got everybody in the safety, I would grab my stuff and start healing people. Start healing the wounded. And sometimes I even had to heal my enemy, and if I didn't want to. I ended up healing some of the white soldiers, and if I didn't want to. And I did. And I didn't want to. But I did. That's my gift. Doesn't matter if there are enemies or not. I had to heal them. And my grandfather always knew this. And all the warriors and all the people in our village knew I had this gift, and I always had to heal the enemy. None of them hold it against me because they know that this is my special gift that I had to do. And I know sometimes we did raids on the enemies, like the Navajo and the Crow and the Pawnee. And I know when the time came, and other Apache tribes, but I knew when the time come that we had to stop being enemies with one another, and that we had to all come together and fight as one. I always knew that. I always knew that we had to do this, to fight all as one. And this has been hard to talk about these visions and dreams. And No Shoes loves you all. And I just want to say thank you for listening. And stay safe. And keep to our culture. And respect one another. And love one another. Thank you.